Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special segment of the SWW show. In fact, it is a very special segment because there's not just one or two, there are actually three people on this show. When I woke up this morning and was thinking about we had to record an episode, I was like, okay, yeah, it's going to be Mike and I, and then Mike texts me and he goes, oh yeah, hey, we have an interview. And I'm like, oh yeah. It brings a light to my day. We have Fred Wood with us.
Is this the part where I'm like, you never know when to start talking when you're a guest on someone else's podcast?
This would be the part of like saying hi to the people. Who are you?
Silent. Hello, I'm Fred Wood. I do a lot of things on the internet, but the most pertinent thing would be that I made two games, Love and then Kuso, on PC and Nintendo Switch.
Okay. I've been watching lately. I don't know how I first got hooked into it, but there's this British game show called Pointless. And it's basically reverse Family Feud. So you're looking for the worst answer, you're looking for a 0-point answer.
And I like that.
It's the ultimate British cringe of like they introduce themselves. So the first person, it's a pair, and the first person talks, and then the second person stands there for like 5 seconds, unsure when they're supposed to introduce themselves. So when you were saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, I've definitely seen that a lot lately.
I listen to a lot of Punch Up the Jam, and like it's according to the like basic rules of the podcast, like you're not supposed to step in and like talk while they're introducing you, or before you're introduced, you're supposed to pretend like you're not in the room when you're very much in the room. So I'm just like, is this like that? I don't know.
But yeah, so the reason we introduced we have Fred here today is talk about his games, his history with games, and the big topic is making money while making video games. Which
I'm not an expert on that part, but I'm kidding.
But again,
his expertise has yet to be detailed yet.
I'm sorry. Attempting to make money while making video games. Is that the most thing? That's about like Absolutely. My success making video games is you attempt to make money and then odds are you just lose money. Yeah. But you keep trying and then eventually you get closer to making money and you're good.
Yeah, and then you accidentally make Minecraft.
Yeah, and then you just go, I want to outbid Beyonce in a house. Which, to be fair, that is the most amazing thing in the world, being like, yeah, I outbid Beyonce. And she's like, what the hell is a Minecraft?
It's the ultimate, like, it was what, 6 or 7 years ago that happened when he bought this. It was the ultimate big dick move of like, oh, Beyonce wants this house? Nah, I got this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna step in and get this real quick. I mean, ultimately you want to be in the Dong Nguyen situation, the guy that made Flappy Bird, where he just made a game. It was just something small, something simple that he put out, and all of a sudden the world exploded and he became obscenely rich. And then at that point he just gets to decide, well, what do I do next?
I don't know. Selling the game. Some of the stories that I heard when around that was coming out of like he was extremely nervous and extremely stressed out. And I'm like,
yeah, because he's scared to get sued.
Yeah. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the entire world was paying attention to this dude that was not looking for much attention.
Right.
Which is funny because you made a game, so I don't know what you. It's the thing of like people who just throw art in the world and like don't tie the name to it, but secretly tie the name to it. I go, either you tied your name to it or you didn't. I don't get this point of like I threw it out there, but I didn't want the attention.
I mean, I think he just put the game out there to make a game. A lot of people get into games just for the satisfaction of like creating something and having it exist and have other people play it. Which is like when it gets to that extent, you no longer have made a game. You've accidentally caused a phenomenon.
That is like the Minecraft thing. Like, it's Notch in the basement being like, I have this cool idea. Maybe 20 of my friends will play it. And he goes, what is that millions number tied to player? Like, that's what that kind of thing happens. But this happened
in the server is literally on fire.
So, Fred, I figured to start this off then. So you make games. Do you want to just go over like your history of like making games and like kind of like rough idea of like what do you do? Like you just the jack of all trades. You program, do you design? Like I do. I personally always say I'm a designer and programmer, for example.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Did the snap happen? Nope. I saw green orange
how about
name. There we go.
Okay, I have no idea what happened. I was sitting completely still. So.
and then something happened. We were hoping the snap
it's
didn't happen,
apparently
and they just picked
connection
it.
issue. Let's see. No reason for that to have happened. Okay, well, hello.
I'm
Yes,
half
sorry.
tempted to leave that in there as we discussed. Did the snap finally happen?
So I don't know. Did you catch my question? Do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah. My history and all that. I was able to hear you guys the whole time. Just
that's interesting.
I was a mute boy. It was unfortunate. I made the very good joke of saying, "Oh, my history. I started back in 1980s," and it doesn't work. It's not very good. Let's see. I started making games or getting into game development back when there was a little game called Duke Nukem 3D. It was built in the Build engine, and I learned how to make multiplayer maps that I played with a couple of my friends.
So side note, have you tried the 2016 Doom's engine? Snap Map
to work? Oh, Snap Map? No, I didn't get around to that.
Snap Map is legit one of the best tools I've just ever worked with, just to have fun with it. It's so simple.
Many tools now.
It's just so simple because the thing that blows my mind is you could use it with a controller and it works. That's the thing that blows my mind on Snap Map is you worked with a controller.
Have you messed with Dreams yet? On
I
PS4?
was just gonna mention Dreams. That looks like the.
I don't know if this is a game, but I've messed with Dreams in the beta, and it was just such a great, like the open beta or alpha they did before they put up sale. Yeah. And that was just this cool, like just thinking like, okay, this toolbox like hurts my head. It's like when I first opened Unity for the first time and I didn't know what Unity did. And I'm like, where do I start?
It's like you've got clay in front of you, and what can't you do with clay?
But you have clay and duct tape and like a video recorder, but you could like throw the videos over stuff and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's nuts. I haven't messed with it yet, and I feel kind of guilty saying that because I was excited. Shuei Yoshida played through Kuso on Switch and then was like, I look forward to seeing what you do in Dreams. I'm like, yeah, I should buy that.
You should just make you a game and just see how it goes.
I did. So I remade the first level of Love back when Little Big Planet 1 came out.
Okay, that's a good.
Yeah. So I'm like way ahead of myself, but there are so many tools out right now to make games in every single different kind of way that's why I didn't play with Snap Map. Was I was just too busy working in all of the other bajillion tools out there.
I just think Snap Map's a cool thing because I think the issue you always have is we have these great high and mid end tools. We don't have these great low end tools of like making someone to want to be a level designer or a designer.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing of like I can hand to my nephew and be like, here, you know how to use a controller. Go do this thing instead of like, here is a visual scripting language and axes which you don't understand or these things. Instead, I'm just like, hold this object in your hand, press X and it places it. And like you have that intuitive sense of what that means.
Yeah, totally.
For me, it's the iMovie compared to because like everybody knows iMovie.
Right.
Like everybody can open up their phone, open iMovie, and quickly edit something. But I showed somebody a project file that I had in Premiere, which was a simple project file. Like for me, it was very simple. It was like 15 minutes long, and it had like 200 cuts in it or something like that. And you could literally see their eyes like flip back as they were having a stroke. Yeah. Trying to figure out what's going on. Like, to people that know what it looks like, it's not difficult, but getting over that hump is very difficult. And if they can do it right, like, all power to them.
Totally. So think about that, though. Like, you have learned how to use Premiere. I think you said Premiere. You cut out for a second.
Yeah, I use the Adobe Suite, so I use Premiere and After Effects.
You know how to use Premiere and After Effects, and you know how to get in and like edit individual frames and crop things and be able to adjust every little bit of every little sequence. Do you still use iMovie at all?
Well, okay. Point A, I don't. The only Apple product I have is a 2012 MacBook Pro.
Okay.
I just use iMovie because everybody knows the iSuite. So
sure. Yeah.
I do use the editing stuff on my Galaxy.
Okay.
for stuff that I shoot on my phone.
Isn't it so frustrating though to go back to such like a limited feature set after learning how to use all of these amazing tools?
Yes and no. The reason I say yes is because obviously you can barely do anything, but no, because I'm already thinking ahead. I'm like, okay,
Fair.
I'm shooting this on my phone, and I know I'm going to cut it on my phone. So I'm only going to shoot what I need. There's
Interesting.
like
Maybe
no extra stuff. Like it's just to me, it's a mentality of like, if I've got a limited set, how am I going to use it in the best way possible?
That's interesting. I can't go back to simpler tools because now I've got like this, not a perfectionist aspect, but like I've got a workflow
That
and
works.
like I can't really just go back to using something smaller. And so that's kind of why I don't mess with a lot of like fun level builders and stuff in games, because if I'm going to be putting time and effort into learning how to use those, I feel like I'm kind of wasting my own time because I should be learning how to use more complicated tools that I can, I mean, ideally make money off of, I guess.
So if that's true, for example, do you have like this like subconscious like I'm curious if it's which side direction. Do you have this subconscious need to like say what I don't use, but if it's Unity, do you have this subconscious need to like update Unity when it gets updated, or do you have this the opposite end of like no, I shouldn't update it because I know this will slow me down?
So Love and Kuso are done in Game Maker Studio.
Okay.
And yeah, every time there's an update, I'm like, do I have to update? Because if I do, it might break something that I currently do.
Okay.
So, yeah,
that's me reading every Adobe patch note of
yeah.
okay, how does this affect
I'm still using
keyframes?
Photoshop CS3, so
Here's
was also
the thing,
the last
between
one they sold.
CS3 and like CS6, there's a lot of difference.
No, just it runs worse and worse until it gets
They
to
make you.
CC. Yeah.
Yeah, CC is like I used CS6 before I started using CC, and the leap from like CC 2017 to CS6 is huge.
So I think we got sidetracked though for a second. So you had Doom levels. So
Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem, my apologies. Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem. I just go Doom in my head.
Doom was too hard. Duke Nukem 3D was
really
cool. You just had like this 2D map designer that like you would plot the points, and then when they connected, that would create a room. Then you press page up or page down to like lift the floor or the ceiling. Or
so is it like Hammer in that regard?
Think of Hammer, but then like make it way more basic.
I don't know. You could go much more basic
because
okay.
you couldn't create a platform. Like you could not go upstairs and be on a second floor because Duke Nukem or the build engine didn't allow for that.
Interesting.
Because it wasn't really 3D. It was like height maps pretty much on a 2D plane.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like if I did like texture stuff for that one and I'd use that as height. Okay. I get that works.
I think that it was the same for Doom, where Doom wasn't really a 3D game; it was just being rendered out.
And we just treated Kaleidos like it was one. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I got started doing. God, I keep getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. I got started doing Duke Nukem 3D maps, and then messing with the Quake 2 models. And then I was really, really into this like unknown Sonic the Hedgehog. Like nobody's ever heard of that. And I was part of a lot of message boards that were making fan games for Sonic the Hedgehog, and I made some very bad ones. And then from there, kind of learned like, oh well, maybe I could go and do something that isn't just blatant copyright infringement.
Which, to be fair, I learned Game Maker like in 2007, 2008. The first thing I did was like, let's try to copy Donkey Kong and Sonic games.
Oh, totally.
Because I played Sonic Heroes.
Start you copy what you know.
Because I played Sonic Heroes, so I naturally was like, can I just make a game? Like my whole dream was, let's play a game where I get all the gems, just run variables and make him Gold Sonic. And I was like, oh, I could do that and just see what I could do.
Perfect. Yeah, that's how I got started, was by copying stuff or like by messing with stuff that already existed, and then kind of thinking like, oh well, if I did my own thing, then I can distribute that and be proud of it. And so I started back in 2008 on Love.
Okay.
And did I think the first version of that was in like, is either in Multimedia Fusion or the Games Factory, neither of which were particularly good. And then when I moved to Houston to go to a community college for game design, where I didn't really learn anything, which was unfortunate. Good waste of time. I was teaching myself on the outside Game Maker 7, and then I ended up doing a kind of early basic version of Love Again, just in a better engine. And then in 2013, when I guess it was 2012 when Steam Greenlight started, and I was like, oh, well, last time I contacted Valve, they told me that my game wasn't good, but now I can ask people if my game is good.
So
And then go ahead, yeah.
I don't know the old process. So was it literally like you'd contact a Valve representative with the ability of your game being like, do you like? Would you sell?
So I think the main way that people were getting on Steam was through publishers. And that was when publishers served a very specific a very specific purpose. Whereas now they do a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so having a publisher was like having a representation in the music industry. So
Okay.
they could get you on things like Nintendo, on Xbox, on PlayStation, on the Sega Dreamcast when that was a thing. And yeah, so Greenlight came and kind of like two things really shook up the industry. And you're gonna laugh at the first one, but it was the Ouya.
Okay, that is true. I was gonna laugh at it.
The Ouya came in and was like, "Hey, Android's this thing that people are starting to make little games on, and here is a console where people can make games on it."
Considering that thing flopped is what intrigues to me how you're saying it changed stuff.
Well, it didn't flop. It actually did incredibly well. Like, it made a lot of money. It just was a bad implementation, and like people were unhappy with the thing that they bought.
Mm-hmm.
But it did get the conversation going of like, oh, well, what about self-publishing on a console? And I think Steam Greenlight hit the same weekend or maybe the weekend after the Ouya Kickstarter had either launched or finished. Because I remember it was the first weekend that I was working with Vlambeer at PAX West. We were showing off Super Crate Box. So that dates all of that. And I remember asking around, like, what do you guys think about the Ouya? It sounds pretty cool, right? They're like, yeah, totally. Like, that sounds amazing. Sounds like a game changer. And while it wasn't, it got the conversation started about independent developers developing for a console in a way that like Xbox Live was getting there with games like Super Meat Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like Super Meat Boy was like the first indie hit on a console. And it was also like a nightmare story because you go and watch like Indie Game the movie and see how
Indie Game the movie.
Yeah. Talk about romanticizing a troubled situation, but like it did show how complicated indies developing for consoles and working with like big publishers really was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the Ouya and Greenlight really like flipped the script on self-publishing on these things. So I released Love through Steam Greenlight. It took like 300 days to get enough votes for Valve to be like, okay, we'll take this one.
What was the threshold back then? Were you allowed to say?
It was completely up to Valve. Like, it was all bullshit. Yeah.
So they just be like, they just wanted it on the radar basically to prove that someone would buy it.
Kinda, yeah. And like that's kind of how Valve works still. Like, anybody can get on Valve or on Steam, but you want people to start wishlisting your game a ton, so that way Valve sees like, oh, people are actually interested in this game that's coming out. Maybe we can do some sort of marketing for them.
So it's kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with Beck Salzman of like Finji.
Yeah.
So I was talking to her actually on Train Jam, and we were talking about like the secretly thing of like how like console developers do the like they secretly rank every developer from like an A to like from basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 system, and like she's like, I didn't realize that was a thing until they're like, yeah, you're a 2, and she just stopped and went, what does that mean? And like basically that's how she figured it out, what all that stuff is. And I'm curious then if that's kind of like Steam's backend is the same way.
I think that Valve probably doesn't have a spreadsheet, but there is like office conversation about like, have you heard of these dudes? And if you've heard of these dudes, then maybe they're worth talking to. But But when was the last time that you logged into Steam and were like serviced an advertisement for an indie game that was appealing to you?
I feel like once in a while, when I open it up, I go once in a while, I go interesting. But I feel like by the time I see it on Steam, I've heard about it for a while. I feel like I never hear about a new thing on Steam.
Yeah.
It's always a thing I've already heard about.
Discovery's like totally fucked on Steam.
My Steam launches to my library anyway, so
Yeah.
like I completely bypass the store. It just goes straight to my library, and I'll only get the like the new game whenever there's a update.
Yeah, I
And
get a
it
pop up
forces
every
it.
once in a while,
Yeah.
but that's like rare too.
Or like as our podcast, it's my job to go through and like get these interviews, and like I'm the one who usually coordinates interview side. So like, a lot of times I go on like Steam and be like, hey, is there a cool person I want to talk to? Just pushing through the nonsense on Steam to find something I find fascinating blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, just go to upcoming tab and you're just like, this thing is not coming out. Like, I don't know who made this thing or who it's for.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like the bottom's just like the bottom junk of like Unity, buy asset pack, launch it, throw it on Steam, it's $100, hopefully make $100 back, is like clogging everything.
Absolutely. And like the number of like asset flip games where people just like download an engine, download some models, and then sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those wondering, Steam Greenlight launched August 30th, and the Ouya campaign ended August 9th.
Okay.
Okay, so they were real close.
Right.
It was
Actually, it's not bad.
They may have announced Greenlight around
Prior.
the beginning of the month, and then it actually launched the 3rd.
Yeah, I paid the $100 to get on Steam Greenlight immediately, and it took me, I think, like 360 days or something like that before I got greenlit. And so
Okay.
that was 2014 that I got greenlit. It was like the day before my birthday or something like that, and I was like, "Oh,
Cool.
this is amazing!" And releasing a game in 2014, you were competing with like maybe 40 games a month.
So you inherently were going to make money in some capacity.
Yes, exactly. And so like Love was a success, even though I released a game that wasn't particularly like well polished at the time. Like I definitely didn't have everything in there that you would expect in a video game, mostly because I didn't know what I was doing. I had made this game that I'd showed to my friends, and my friends were like, "Oh, this is neat," and that would be like the extent of my QA. I launched without the ability to pause because I had no idea how to do that in Game Maker. And so within the first week or so, it did incredibly well. It got picked up by Giant Bomb. They played it on Unprofessional Fridays, and that did incredibly well. Also, it showed me who Giant Bomb was, so I'll always be thankful for that.
And now you'll never forget them.
I really don't. I've been a premium subscriber ever since. I love those guys.
To be fair, you're like, you paid for my meals, I'll pay for yours. Is the way you probably looked at it.
For real.
It's funny. I may have started becoming a premium subscriber right around that 2014, 2015
word
time frame.
Yeah, I made money making a video game in 2014. I remember the first paycheck coming in and like not knowing what to do with that kind of windfall, which like I was also making peanuts doing the job that I was doing at the time. So when I got like a real paycheck, it was insane. Like the cost of living in San Antonio is particularly low. So when this paycheck came through, I was like, I can actually pay off my rent for the year with this paycheck. And I went to my landlord. I was like, hey, could I do that? And he was like, I think my wife would like that very much. Yes, go ahead.
He's like, yes, I don't have to bug you for 10 months. I would be okay with that one.
Yeah. And so after releasing Love and supporting it for a bit, I did like a bunch of extra levels and all sorts of little just patches and fixes and stuff. I was like, cool. Well, I made enough money to not have to work this year, so I guess I'm just gonna not. And then I got a job offer at a company that was really cool, but definitely the wrong choice. And I stopped making games up until 2016, end of 2016. And
so you just blind cold didn't make a thing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, whatever, Love's out. I'll try to release it on something. And Xbox was the only company that was like really receptive to it. I did buy a Wii U dev kit because Nintendo called me on the phone asking me if I wanted to release on the Nintendo.
So can I ask how much that was?
I cannot legally say how much.
Okay, that's what I was. Okay.
But it was about 2 weeks before they announced they were going to stop making Wii U's.
Holy shit.
So
Okay.
I was not happy about that.
You couldn't be like, can I have my money back?
No, there's a no refund policy on that stuff.
God.
I'm never allowed to talk about like the price of
kits. If you can't, then yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. The information's out there though. Like you can find the price tag. I just can't be the one to tell you about it. Keyboard typing.
You can't confirm nor deny it. I understand.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's a Wii. I need a U after that.
Let's just say the Switch dev kit was like about a third of the cost of the Wii U dev kit.
I know what a 3DS one is because one of my old professors was working on one, and I got to hear that price tag, and I was like, oh.
I don't even know how much
I can just say oof.
Yeah, it was a bad purchase, and I have a total up and running build of love for the Wii U, but
it's not worth putting it up now.
I would have had to go and get it ESRB certified at the time because they didn't have IARC back then, and that was required. So it wouldn't have made its money back. There's just no way, and it wouldn't have made the money back on the dev kit either. So
I can see why.
Yeah. Turns out the Wii U wasn't great. People make fun of the Ouya, but like, oof. At least I made money off the Ouya.
Also, there's two stories back to back. The first one's the Wii U dev kit cost, and then the next one is talking about the Switch dev kit cost.
Yeah, the Switch dev kit cost was like the first time Nintendo put out a dev kit that was reasonably priced.
I was gonna say it seems, reasonable or like respectful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is a big difference. Okay.
Yeah. Mike just did the Google search that I've got.
Yeah, so like it's more than a Nintendo Switch, but not much more than a Nintendo Switch.
So correct me that I think I missed you say that. Did you say you got an Xbox, or you just were poking with an Xbox?
I got an Xbox. I've been working on a Xbox port of Kuso, but
because that's built in the Xbox One, isn't it?
It is, but ID at Xbox will send you a dev kit. So
okay,
I got a dev kit. I got that like really fancy Xbox One X dev kit that has the OLED screen on it.
I've seen those float around. Those are nice.
Yeah. The problem with Xbox development is the documentation for Game Maker Studio is like 5 paragraphs. And like that's somewhat of an exaggeration, but it's also just like it's kind of hard to figure out what to do a lot of stuff. So like the game's up and running. I've played through it a number of times. Achievement works. But they've got like these back end systems that you have to connect into that like I don't understand.
See, I use Unity a lot, and Unity uses Visual Studio and .NET, which means Microsoft just goes, "Here's everything. Have a good day."
Yeah, that's cool. I wish it worked that way on Game Maker. But
you could just find services that go using C# connect to this database, and it just works. Just because of the nature of like them owning most of the stuff and working so closely with it.
I have not given up. I just am not currently working on it as hard as I am on another project.
Does Xbox still require you to have the game have 1,000 achievement points?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it's up to 1,000. Maybe you don't have to have 1,000.
Because that was the old thing, was everything used to be 1,000.
Well, yeah, originally when the 360 launched, there was no cap. I think the cap was 1,000, but like you could have 300 points or something.
Yeah,
then they made games have 1,000.
I think there was a cap for Xbox Live indie games where you could only go up to 300 or 400 gamer points. But that also may have just been a very short-lived thing that changed. Because I also worked on trying to bring love to Xbox 360, and that did not happen. That was when they first launched the ability for people to deploy stuff on their own Xbox, which was really cool.
Oh,
I don't understand why all of the platforms don't do that.
Right, I understand the logistics of like making it launch on the store is harder than that, but like, yeah, to me, I go, let me just see if I can make a build on this thing before I hand it to you to say, will you sell this thing? Because then from the end of you getting to sell it could be a lot shorter if I know it already basically works.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, I wish that I could have had like a starter Switch dev kit before investing in the Switch dev kit, just so that way I wouldn't have had all of that anxiety wondering like, I wonder if this is going to run and all of this money that I'm spending is going to work.
Yeah, because the
And then-
concern is even like memory. You're like, am I pushing this memory? I shouldn't be, because my PC
Right.
says I'm not, but the Switch does something stupid, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
I will say this though, the Switch port process for Game Maker Studio is so smooth. Like it's well documented, everything just kind of works. I've ported my 2 games and I'm working on a couple of other third-party titles that I'm helping out with, and like yeah, Switch is amazing for development.
So I think that's where we left off then. So you're on your right now. You're on your you said in your story your 2-year hiatus, and then is this where you come down to you decide I want to go back to making games?
Yeah, I had a friend who was very wealthy and wanted to get into game publishing, and he was like, "Hey, I know you hate your job. Do you want to get back into game development?" I'm like, "Yes, but I can't afford to quit my job to make games." He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna help bankroll you so you can work on your game, and I will be your publisher." And so
Interesting.
it didn't end up working out exactly like that, but he helped me out while I got into that, and I was like, "This is great. I'll just put all this time and effort into this game." Back in 2014, I made a shitload of money, so launch
Must
a
be
game
easy.
yeah, like launch a game in November of 2017. I'm like, sure, whatever. Like, yeah, Call of Duty just came out. Yeah, Sonic Forces just came out. Like, whatever. Like, there are other games coming out right now. Like Super Mario Odyssey. Like, everybody's played Mario. They're done with that. They want a new platformer, and the game came out to like no attention at all because
So-
the market had shifted so hard in 3 years.
So, question: did you do like press and social media for it at that point, or are you like, nah, it's gonna sell itself?
I did some, but getting press in November was a stupid thing for me to do. I should have
Done
delayed
like
the game till
March.
February.
Okay.
Yeah. But then again, like that February was Yakuza 0 and like one of the best Februaries for gaming in many years. There's just not a good day to release on anymore. There just isn't. There's not a slow time.
I will say your story of developing Kuso and having a friend bankroll it. The number of times that I hear stories like that of like in not only making movies and TV shows, but when I hear of people like, oh yeah, we're gonna start a NASCAR team because my uncle owns a Chevy dealership and has the
He'll
money.
pay for it.
Yeah, he can pay
Yeah.
for it. Like, I'm not saying it was a bad idea, but the
I mean,
number,
it worked out
number of
for me
times,
'cause
yeah, the number of
I
times
was
that
able
I
to
hear people do
survive,
that,
but
yeah.
it wasn't a good investment on his part.
Yeah, the number of people that I hear do that, I'm like, there's like a 0.1% chance that this is going to go well
Yeah.
because it just doesn't work that way anymore. But yeah, every time I hear stories like that, I'm like, okay, I know people in like 5 different disciplines that did exactly that.
Right.
And it worked out well for them. The person that bankrolled them is
Not as happy.
Yeah, not happy, but
I want to pull up some numbers. I'm not going to give you guys exact numbers, but I can give you a ratio at least.
Okay. I would like as much as you feel comfortable with. Let me phrase that.
Yeah.
I will say when I looked at the Wii U dev cost, I am
Interested.
I am not comfortable releasing that number because
I mean,
it's an easy
available
Google,
online, so yeah.
But like, yeah, it's a stupid number. All things considered.
History.
I don't feel comfortable talking about it because it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be as high.
Yeah. Okay. So Love released in 2014 at $3, and Kuso released in 2017 at $5.
Okay.
It is a 1 to 10 ratio. Kuso sold a 1/10 of what Love sold.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Do you mind since
That's a big
so
oof
like
there.
so like
Yeah.
money wise in my head that's like roughly like is it like 14-15% then I assume using that math
that's
roughly.
Yeah, let's see.
It'd just be
It's not a one.
Yeah, it's a 1 to 4 ratio on that. Kuso
Okay.
made a quarter of the money that Love made.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a big oof.
big oof there, Chief.
And that's just on Steam. That's not including any like
Yeah.
deals I've ever done. But
So a question is, so does this like because it's on Switch also?
So yeah,
Yes.
so actually that's kind of where the story goes on from there. Is that I released on PC in 2017, and I'd been emailing Nintendo since before the Switch got publicly unveiled. Like, hey, listen, I know you have this new thing. I'm already a registered developer. Will you please let me develop for this new system? And they're like, we're not talking to developers right now, or we're
Would
not
you
talking
like-
to indie devs at this
And you're
point.
like, which is not true, so don't lie to me. Just say you're not
Yeah.
talking to me.
The thing that was really frustrating is like my full-time gig is I am a production assistant at Vlambeer.
So you're positive they were talking to people.
So I'm like, I know who you're talking to. I'm asking if you'll let me talk to you too.
You're like, I'm positive I know you're talking to because they're my boss.
Yeah. But like I get it. Like they were looking for bigger indies to make their space more valuable. But so like if you were on Switch year one, that was a kingmaker. You were going to do well because there was no competition and people were so hungry for Switch games.
It's the Vita thing of like it would just sell.
It was like the Vita thing, but people actually owned it.
Oof.
I love my Vita. I've got a working build of love on Vita. That was a bad investment, but I love it. I love the Vita. It is so good, and
So it just feels good. That's the thing. The thing that gets me,
yeah.
the Vita just like compared to 3DS. Like I put Vita and go, this is a thing.
The Vita's D-pad is like the best handheld D-pad that wasn't the Neo Geo Pocket Color's weird switchy thing. No, I love my
Deep
my
cut.
Vita. It's a deep cut, but man, if you've ever used that thing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's like the best input device is on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. It was a joystick, but it was a 4-way joystick that felt more like an analog stick on an Xbox or PS4 controller that had 4 micro switches. So it had a really satisfying click on each direction that you put in. And so if you just replaced every D-pad in history with that thing, we'd be better off as a species.
As a species.
That's why mechanical keyboards are 10 times better than a digital keyboard.
Yeah, it's that clickety clackety. It feels good.
It's the reason that Fred knew that I was typing something in.
Yeah, it's why I'm very also like careful as I'm typing, is because I've also got a mechanical. I forget what I was. Oh, right. So when Nintendo finally did talk to me and they're like, hey, would you like to develop on the system? I'm like, motherfucker, yes. I've been begging. But yeah, I was like, yes, please.
You're like, that would be great. Where'd I send the check?
At that point, like the producer that had helped me start or helped me fund the production of the game, he still hadn't made his money back. And full disclosure, still hasn't made his money back because game development is funky like that. So I paid for the Switch port out of pocket, and that included the software, which GameMaker charges. I think it's like an $800 a year license for Switch development. The cost of my Switch, I had to formally start an LLC because Nintendo doesn't work with individuals. Yeah, like they will, but like you have to have at least an LLC or an S corporation or whatever legal blah blah blah.
It's just from like a lawsuit end, I assume, on their end.
I think it's just easier for them because they're a multinational company and they.
I was gonna say it's a multinational thing dealing with
a U.S. LLC is probably something in the books of how to do it.
It's legally it's extremely easy compared to a multinational dealing with a private.
Right.
Person.
Like I work with Nintendo of America specifically, but I do get tied in with Nintendo of Europe because I sell there. So I think that just having those kind of connections makes it more tenuous. Like I'm an individual working with Valve, but then again, I'm working with some dude in Seattle.
Right.
I mean, Valve is multinational, but it's just
a
Valve
US based
everywhere.
company dealing. Yeah.
So I bankrolled that one out of pocket. And thinking like, this is great, gonna make a ton of money. And towards the end of the year, I got an offer to work on a game, or a company offered me a bunch of money to develop my next game. I didn't want to work with that company, so I told them, fuck you guys, I'm releasing a game on Switch, I'm gonna be rich, don't worry about it, I'll never deal with you guys again. Game on Switch. And yeah, that was a huge bomb as well, unfortunately, because I released in November of 2018,
Oh no.
which was a busy time for the Nintendo Switch.
You didn't learn.
I,
You didn't
so
learn
here-
first time around.
Did you just go like, oh, it's Pokemon. Pokemon doesn't sell.
No, it was the week before Super Smash Brothers. So
Oh,
I figured
even
if I
better.
got in, before Smash Brothers, people who were buying their Switch for Smash Brothers might buy a $5 video game.
Which, to be fair, I think that's not bad logic on
Yeah,
face
and
value.
honestly, it did sell. It sold better than it did on PC, but like it wasn't hitting the Switch numbers that like I've seen some people hit.
Yeah, I've definitely heard from friends of like Switch numbers. I go, what number did you just say to me? You're what?
Yeah. I released. So on my birthday, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a 1-day sale that's like insane, and I'm gonna release Kuso for $1, and it made more money that day and sold more units that day than every single day leading up to it.
So have you thought about doing something like just lowering the price? I'm just curious. Or do you think it's just
so
like whatever?
We talked about this before the podcast, right? That
Right.
there's a
The
race
bottom.
to it's a race to the bottom price wise, and that's not actually good. And I don't think that it would make the game sell better, because I don't think people are just like hitting sort by dollar amount and then just buying games that are under $1.
You think it's just sale?
Yeah, I think it was a sale, and when I put out the tweet saying like, "Hey, please buy this. It's $1." Dear God, what's wrong with you people? And it started to sell a little bit, and that was good. Funnily enough, when I released Love, I released Love on February 14th, because good
Makes
timing
sense.
like that. I released that for $3, which was the retail price on Steam as well. So $2 cheaper. It's about half as much game, and it runs at half as many frames. So I figured that was the right choice. That ended up selling way better, but I don't think it was because it was $3 versus $5. I think it was just I released in February instead of November, and I released Love, which is a game people have heard of, and Kuso is not. So I don't know. Like, Love is still doing better than Kuso is on Switch, which is frustrating as all hell. But yeah, that's what's up.
So starting into that then, and if at any point I say something and you don't want to answer this because it's somewhat personal, just say it. First one is, do you feel like Kuso, for example, has a chance to become profitable at some point, reasonable, do you think? Or is it kind of like you live and learn?
The curve is trending in exactly the direction of someday this is going to be profitable. It hasn't died off, and every time it goes on sale, it's a nice new influx of customers. I think the thing that happens for Kuso specifically is whenever somebody streams it, then that's an opportunity for a few people to go and pick it up. And so, the game is a speedrunner focused game as well. So it was played in a European speedrunning community stream, and a bunch of people picked it up to all compete in that. So if I could get somebody to run and play it at something like Games Done Quick, then I think that would be a huge boost. And I cater really well.
Those events are huge.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't have the kind of money that would be required to do an advertising deal with that. So really, I need somebody who genuinely loves the game and loves to speedrun the game to get accepted. So and unfortunately, nobody has gotten accepted yet.
You keep trying, you keep being one of these days you'll be good enough, and then
dude, the speedrunning community around Kuso is a bunch of really cool, well socially adjusted human beings, which is more than I can say for a lot of game communities. So, and I don't mean that as a derogatory thing. I love that I can hang out with the people that play my game. That's awesome. And so I think that there will be a time at some point that these dudes get a chance to show the game to people in they love the game, they play the game, and they show people that they love the game, and that sells games better than marketing does. Unless it's Super Bowl marketing, I guess. But yeah.
Kuso and Love are games that I will respect from a distance for the very specific reason of I am terrible at platformers.
That's fair, and I feel like I've done myself a disservice with my marketing of the game because it looks a lot harder than it is.
It looks
And
cool. Look at the gifs on your website of them are freaking cool.
totally, but like it looks kind of hard. It looks like a precision like Twitch platformer, and I get a lot of the "I want to be the guy" comments, and it's like, no, the apples don't fall up from the tree. You don't get fucked in this game. Like everything that can kill you, you see. So, like, I guess I've talked this much about the game without actually talking about the game. Kuso and Love before it are simple 2D platformers where the only commands you have at your disposal are run left, run right, and jump. But you also have the ability to set your own checkpoint at any given time. So that way, if you don't think that you can make the jump in one go, you can set your checkpoint right before you make the jump and then jump and see if you make it. And you can choose the difficulty of the game when you start it up. You can either have unlimited lives, 100 lives for like a little bit of a challenge, or 10 lives if you want to be a total badass. I can't beat it on 10 lives.
But you know
I'm
it
also-
works on 10 lives?
Yes, I do. I've seen many people do it. I've seen people do the YOLO mode from Love, which is like literally you only live once, literally. And yeah, like the thing that I'm adding to the Switch version that's currently up on the PC version, because there's been like when Sekiro came out, there's been a big conversation about accessibility in games,
Mhm.
and I feel very strongly that like games should be something that everybody can enjoy, and not everybody's going to enjoy every game, but I want to make sure that my game is enjoyable by as many people as possible. So I'm adding in the feature to slow down time by half whenever you want, like by a button press. So if somebody picks up my game and they want to challenge, they can just play it a certain way and challenge themselves that way. If somebody picks up the game and gets really frustrated and hates the game because it was too hard for them, like I feel like I've failed because I want people to have fun.
So then what is the, and this is just more of a general design more question, I guess. What is the line to you of like, this is the art I made and I want them to interpret this way, versus here's just the toolbox and I made an artist in a way, but I don't really care as long as the toolbox is experienced to you?
That's a difficult question that I don't know that I have an answer for. It's a good question though. I think it's more important that somebody sees the visuals in the game and comes away like the reason I made the game was for people to have fun.
Mm.
And everybody has fun in their own different ways. I play a lot of games on easy because I'm not very good at a lot of games. I'm very good at some games, but
it's the
I try to
it's the
Go ahead.
ultimate of like I'm okay at a lot, you're jack of all trades, but I also make them.
yeah.
Would you have to be like anyone? And my friends are like, I'm good at games, and I make them. I go, no, that means you don't spend enough time making games. I don't understand how you get good at them.
It's like I kick ass at Destiny. I kick ass at Apex Legends.
Oh, I'm terrible
I'm
at
not
Apex.
very good at like most racing games or sports games or challenging platformer games. Like I'm very good at Kuso, but also like not good enough to do a YOLO run or anything like that.
So then, if you like say, like you just said, you're not amazing at them, how do you like design them to be this hard thing? If you like at what point do you go, is this too hard? Or is it just I'm bad at it when you make
So
them?
every Thursday night, I go to a local brewery, and one thing that I was doing is I was bringing a copy of the game on a shitty Android tablet with a shitty controller, and we were getting drunk and playing the game, and like letting lots of different people play it. And I figured that if the best of us at our drunkest could beat it, then it was not too hard.
Actually, it's a good. I like that line.
And like the other thing is like there's not a single thing in there that's unfair. Like in
Mhm.
Love, there was one, maybe two jumps in the entire game that were like lightly unfair. Like you might accidentally die there once and not realize exactly why. In Kuso, every single thing in the game, like because I knew that you had a Windows screen of 240 pixels by 120 pixels, I think. Maybe it was 106. Like I knew exactly what the window was and what the player could see at any given time. So I
Mm.
designed each challenge in the entire game around that. And each level is made pixel by pixel. I'm not reusing tiles or assets or anything.
Really?
So I know exactly what everything is going to be.
That's a very interesting way to like, just from a pipeline point of view of like being the tedium in that way.
Yeah. And people are frustrated that there's not like widescreen support. And on something like that, step one, I don't know how to implement that properly in a way in Game Maker Studio that doesn't make the game look like shit. And step two is that like I designed the game around that specific thing.
So you'd be changing a core mechanic for that feature.
Yeah, your eyesight is only supposed to be a certain extent. Anything beyond that breaks the way that the game was intended to be played.
Also, I bet
like if somebody found a way around that, I wouldn't get mad.
I bet you that makes the game harder almost if you make it widescreen supported too, because it's the like our brains can only handle so much data in front of us, and like my brain is trying to figure out the challenge. And if I see 3 challenges in front of me, I also am trying to think of all 3, and I'm like shortens my focus on the first one.
Yeah, if you could see the entirety of the last level when you started that level, you just shut the game down. It's like a lot. It's a lot to be shown at one time.
You should just for the hell of it figure out not 16:9 but 21:9 and then tweet it to Matt Rory so he can play it on his ultra wide monitor.
I love Matt Rory, but I will forever be mad at him because they played Kuso on it's a Tuesday and no games have come out day.
Yeah.
And Matt Rory wouldn't stop talking when Jeff was playing it, and like played through the first few levels, like that was good, but like didn't get a chance to actually talk about the game at all.
And you're like, God damn it!
And I'm like, God damn you, Matt Rory.
You're like, please say the name a few more times, send links, thank you.
I mean, I think it ended up getting like a few sales, but it was a premium only subscription thing.
So inherently you bottlenecked of like how much there is.
Yeah, totally. But whatever. It was satisfying to watch Jeff play it. So
that's valid. So then that's interesting. So obviously your games have been featured on like Giant Bomb and you see sales boosts from that. Are there ever have you ever tried to like do more so of that kind of like try to get bigger people? Is it like you just luck of the draw of like, oh, I have no pull personally, so it's kind of like I just hope this happens.
Yes. So let's see. There have been a couple of times where huge people have streamed it that I had never heard of before. And I just like in the moment, I'm like, I have to do some advertising around this. I have to like take advantage of this moment. Like I think the streamer's name was Moon, is like one of the top Overwatch streamers. And like one night while Overwatch was updating or something, he was like, I'll just play this for a bit. And ended up playing it for like 2 hours. And so that was I think the day after it came out. But the deal that I had set up with Twitch where it was going to be for sale through the Twitch store.
Okay.
And so if people were playing the game and somebody purchased the game on the Twitch store, then that streamer would see a small bump in that. But unfortunately, because of like a logistical error, that got delayed until the next week.
Oh.
And so it was this potentially amazing situation that completely got bungled. So
I'll tell you what, you could have said any name you wanted to.
I would believe you was a name.
I know about 6 streamers by name.
I'm trying to think of like the notable ones, like Rev Scarecrow from Vinesauce streamed it, but he's a friend.
No idea.
Liam from formerly of Super Best Friends, Rising Superstar streamed it, but I was on that stream because he's a friend. Matt from formerly of Super Best Friends. Played it, and so did Wooly, and that's because they're friends of mine. I've gotten a bunch
of like the Super Best Friends. I've only heard of them. I've never.
Yeah, like they were big, so anytime they would do any of my shit, like that would help me out tremendously. But yeah, so I used to work at a YouTube network, and I used to work at a YouTube network that I think, honest to God, is the only good YouTube network out there. And I still advertise them on the regular, but like it was cool that I got to hang out with all these YouTubers and stuff that like we liked our people and we only worked with people we liked. So I became friends with all of my clients. And when I left, I stayed friends with all those clients, which was good.
That's a really interesting thing of like, the people that I'm working with are clients, but also like I'll gladly go out and have a beer with them.
Totally. And like it was nice because a lot of those clients, like if they contacted me at some odd hour, like normally at a job, if you're off the clock and somebody's asking you to do something, you're like, I don't want to fucking deal with you. But with
If you're
them,
off,
I was
you're off.
yeah, I was usually not 100% of the times. I was usually happy to just help whoever needed help at the time. So
Interesting.
but I leveraged that quite greatly, I think, when I launched the game, because that was the time, and the time has shifted yet again. This isn't really the way to get popular on Steam anymore, but like I was going to every YouTuber I knew, and I knew a lot of them, and I was like, please just play my game.
You're like 20 minutes, so I'm asking. You're like 2 levels, whatever.
Every once in a while I'll get like a really high profile person to talk about the game or tweet the game or will tell me that they play the game. Like Yoko Taro, the creator of Nier Automata and Nier and all that, like he tweeted out the game the day it came out.
And you're like, okay.
I was like, oh, I was just sending you a code to play because I love you and everything you do. And then I reached out to him to do voice work for the 3-2-1 countdown in multiplayer. And he was like, oh, in English or Japanese? I'm like, whatever. Send me both. They were perfect. So I have Yoko Taro in my game. And that's awesome.
That's such an interesting, just like, little please tell. See, you should just advertise the game for a while. Like, whenever you see Nier Automata on sale, you should also do a sale of, like, inspired by Nier Automata sale. You should call it or whatever and just be like, there you go.
Oh, man. I feel like that would be a really shitty thing to do, but it might help.
It'd be shitty, but it would sell the game and you know it.
Yeah, for sure.
Or if Steam Backend, I don't think it lets you. You just let you rename games. You just name it Nier Automata, just then people get real confused.
Nier Automato, in case people misspell it.
Yeah.
Or Nier Automaton.
No, spell it Nier, but the correct English spelling of Nier.
Right. Just in case somebody's keyboard autocorrects it.
And they're like, oh, this must be the game everyone talks about.
That's a really big thing on YouTube to do in tags.
Misspell
your video. Yeah. Like every single way you could come up with it, and that'll help you out.
YouTube's algorithms are just all levels of fucked, but
yep. Yeah, I used to have to be very, very, very up on that stuff, and now I'm so completely removed that I couldn't even tell you.
I've been doing more research on it, and I'm just like, who writes these things?
Any research you're doing is stuff that other people have found.
Right.
If it didn't come from YouTube, then it's probably already out of circulation.
But it's still like the stuff you read, you're just like, who wrote this? Because I know you hire smart people. Who thought this was a good idea?
Well, again, the information that you're finding online is what people have like kind of discovered through their examples, and like that's not actually how YouTube works. Like they don't know the levers that service videos higher or lower.
Yeah.
So, here's the like number one piece of advice that is 100% ironclad on YouTube. If you give a shit about your content, other people will too. That's the only thing, and do it on a regular basis.
I was gonna say consistency in that situation is the only thing that matters.
It's like, consistency and quality are your two rules of YouTube.
Yeah, and like quality doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm uploading a 4K video or whatever. It's that like the quality of the content. As long as you're like actually passionate about the thing that you're doing, it will eventually do well, because people can tell when you like something and people can tell when you don't like what you're doing.
No matter how good you are at acting, it's noticeable when somebody is not a fan of what they're playing or talking about. Or
if you're getting paid to play a game and you're saying that you like the game when you don't, it fucking shows.
Okay, Snoop Dogg, calm down over there.
No, every time that Conan would do a celebrity video with his Conan Plays, Blue Skin or whatever it's called.
I liked most of those because he was just playing his character, but yeah, you could tell that like he wasn't into it at all.
Lot of it
I meant more the Snoop.
Care.
I meant the Snoop Dogg example because that was the infamous, like, he was doing the YouTube videos and he'd be like, huh, as he would like lift his hands up, be like, look at the guy playing that thing.
Yeah, he like would fucking spark up a joint while somebody else is clearly playing the game.
And there's a controller in front of him to make people think he was playing it.
Yeah. I would much rather like see Snoop Dogg watch somebody playing a game than watch Snoop Dogg playing a game too.
I want Snoop Dogg esports commentator
I feel like that he wouldn't be genuine in that though.
But he would be, because he'd be like, "Hey, look, someone got shot." Like that'd be like he'd be genuine, and then he'd be like making fun of the names the entire time.
I could actually get down on that. I think
That's what I mean. Like you say
Yeah.
that, but it'd straight be like you want like an actual live esports game where he could just read the names and be like something 69. He goes, "I think that was a weed joke," and he'd be like smoking a joint on stage. Like that'd be the level of nonsense he'd pull.
Oh man, I hope E3 is full of like awkward weed moments again.
I still can't process when that was Ubisoft, right?
No, that was
That was
E3,
that was
or EA. It was
That was EA.
Battlefield, wasn't it?
It was Battlefield.
and forget the other dude.
Did they when they
Jamie
hired him?
Kennedy.
Did
Zac
they
Efron.
know? Did they know what they were getting into? I wonder, or is it like some mid-level exec came up with the idea and they're like, "It's a great idea," and no one up top knew what was happening?
I think the answer to both of those is yes. Like legitimately, I think both of those cases are true.
Good. Well, AJ, I think I'm out of questions. Do you have anything else for our friend here? Because I think you have one more. I think we need to end with on our question doc that I think is an important question to end with.
Oh yeah, how'd you come up with Trunks?
The story that I used to tell people that was not. I mean, the story is true, but it's not the reason why. Is that we used to go to a local arcade to play Dance Dance Revolution, which all of this is
Okay.
way worse than the actual story. And it would be 6 of us, and it was a 5-person car, so I'd get stuck in the trunk. Like that happened. That happened once, and it was funny. But it's because I like Dragon Ball Z. Like,
Okay, since you said it, I was gonna make a joke of it better not be a Dragon Ball reference.
oh, it's totally a Dragon Ball reference. Because like, I mean, I grew up on that shit. I've got a fucking Brawly statue now on top of my computer because I picked it up in Japan last week. Like, yeah, I'm a giant ass nerd. I'm a 32-year-old Dragon Ball Z fan. The worst.
I mean, I have nothing. There's nothing wrong with Dragon Ball, and in fact, there's a lot of that show that, when you start to watch it, is very interesting,
Yeah.
and so how they handle storylines and stuff like that can be very interesting.
Also, it's probably one of those influential shows, I'd argue, in nerd culture of the last 20 years for obvious reasons.
Right.
Well, and just like, I don't know, like maybe my resentment is because it's so popular. Of like,
hey, that's fair.
his nickname is Trunks because he's a Dragon Ball fan. Of course he is. Like,
I mean,
the Trunks story is much funnier, and
The
I'll
Trump
be
story is
honest,
great, by the way.
totally.
That's the one I would stick with. Not that the Dragon Ball one is bad, but
no, like the other day I saw the new Dragon Ball movie, and this is after watching all of Dragon Ball Super kind of reluctantly. Like my brother-in-law was like, "Oh, you got to watch it." I'm like, I think I'm over Dragon Ball at this point, and I certainly was, and I did finish all of the 120 episodes or some shit. And then I watched this latest movie, and I came out of that latest movie like, this is really good. Like, it's really good storytelling. The character designs are like new and interesting. They rewrote Brawly's character to be something like good, and the music is awesome, and the fight scenes are incredible. And then I'm like, I'm the fucking worst. I'm going around like, no, but really, you got to check out Dragon Ball. Like, no, nobody needs to do that. It's doing fine.
Like, it really advertises itself. It's fine.
Nobody needs a Dragon Ball Defender in 2019.
No one needed it in like 2005 either. To be
Fair.
fair.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Anything after Z, we're like, no one really needed a defender of Dragon Ball.
I mean, Super's all right. Like, they did some cool stuff in.
Okay, it's all right, but like, it's definitely like when people are like, no, it's like people act like they're so like the cool. Like, I'm not saying you do this, but this is the cool people are like, look, no, you don't understand Dragon Ball. I'm like, everyone understands what Dragon Ball is at this point in society, and either it's
I will
funny
die
or
on the
you're
hill
not.
that if you liked Dragon Ball at some point and then you fell off hard, Dragon Ball Z Super Brawly the movie, I think that's the whole title. I don't remember. Is very good.
the title
is a
sounds
weird-
like that Dead Rising DLC that was
Oh man,
Super EX Alpha Ultra.
But that was so good because they were making fun of it. That's
Yeah.
what made that title good. Was they knew what they were doing. It wasn't like a serious, non-ironic title.
Right. Capcom was okay with poking fun at themselves.
Imagine if
That's
that
the
was a
best thing.
non-ironic title. That'd have been the best thing. That was just a serious title, and like they're all just straight face saying it.
Oh, good shit.
But yeah, we would definitely like to thank you for joining us for this fun conversation on your history making games and about little stuff like making profits, which
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for having me. And if I can leave anybody with advice, it's go into making games for the passion of it because the money may not be there.
or if you're gonna make money, just release your game on Steam and hopefully you make your $150 back at some point in the next 5 years.
Or travel back to 2014 and get released back then because that was.
Or try Itch, even though actually
Itch is
closing
neat, but my sales on Itch
Yeah.
are like
closing marks, which is the thing, which I love Itch as a platform. This is not Itch as a platform idea, which I'm going to shit on for a second. It's when Itch released their numbers, like I think it was like 6 months ago, and went, we have made $350,000 for devs. And I looked at the number and went, what did you say to me?
That's not great.
I'm like, how many games on your platform and you've made what?
You know, there is one way that Kuso could be profitable. And it's we're like in the time that it could work, and then this is the only time. The Epic Game Store right now, like if you're on the Epic Game Store right now, there are too few things available for sale on it, right? So nobody's like buying games or building their library on the Epic Game Store. And then in a few months, when it's like open curation and pretty much anybody can get on, you're not going to be able to get any notoriety. But if you can get in right in between those two,
or if you could be their free game,
right? Yeah, which would be cool. Epic, get at me.
You're like Epic. You're like, here's my Twitter handle, here's my email. Really Epic. You're like, I'll make you a good deal.
I'll make them a very good. Okay, yeah, no, I'm done.
But yeah, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow the show at Twitter at the SW Show. You can find me at Twitter at Mikey_Maroney. You can find AJ at Twitter at.
I'm waiting for it. What's it going to
be? At Grand Rapids is a horrible city.
That's a false statement. But...
And where can we find you on Twitter? Remind me again, Fred.
Oh, That's My Trunks.
Do
you remember the hit 90s show, That's My Bush?
No, yeah. I don't.
Nope, of course not. Anyways, that's what it's a riff on. So that's my
nice.
Go get
And then
it.
you can find your games. Both of them are available on Steam, Itch, and Switch. Would that be where all of them are?
Steam, Itch, Switch, Twitch. If that store is still existing, I'm not sure.
I thought it did.
You can still technically buy Love on the Ouya. So if you have an Ouya, you can hook
Does that store still exist?
Yeah,
it
dude,
does.
Alibaba bought the Ouya.
I thought Razer had the Ouya.
I don't know. I saw a thing about Alibaba buying them in 2015.
Alibaba also might own Razer, though. So
let's be real. China owns anything electric. There's a very good chance China owns it.
I mean, Tencent probably owns some portion of me. I'm okay with that, though.
You're like, it's acceptable.
Yeah, they're not getting their money's worth, that's for sure.
But yeah, remember to subscribe on iTunes or podcast services of your choice. Rate us, review us, and me and AJ still have an upcoming surprise coming up in the next month or two. Keep an ear out for that one. And we'll catch you guys next time. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Das Vidanya. I think that's Russian for goodbye, everyone.
Happy Dienstag.
Oh, fucking
it's
hell.
Tuesday, right? Hold on, wait.
It is Tuesday.
Yes. Happy Dienstag to us all.